Hi Sarah, hi Dave, great to meet up with you at the range on the evening and do some work on your game. As promised, just a quick recap on the key points that we covered. Starting with yourself Sarah, what we're trying to do is develop a simpler way of swinging a golf club, and more importantly a more effective way of striking a golf ball. If we watch what good players actually do during a golf swing, we can see that there is no movement off the golf ball. There's no need for that. If you think about what we're trying to achieve, we're trying to hit the ground in the same spot every time. So if we're going to move the weight from side to side, that's going to make that increasingly difficult and increasingly chaotic. So we're going to keep the weight forward, and we're going to then try and keep the arms straight. And that was the key really from yesterday's session. Weight forward. We also discussed the handle being forward. So if you look at all good players at impact, the weight is forward, the handle is forward, and as then the player comes through the ball, the arms are straight. A lot of those things are set up though by not moving the weight around during the backswing. By keeping the weight fixed on the way back, we've removed a lot of the chance of hitting the ground behind the ball. The fear of hitting the ground behind the ball generally causes the player to flex the elbows on the way through, resulting in very inconsistent strikes. So your thought was weight forward, handle forward, arms straight. I'm just going to run Mike Bennett through there to just after impact and then run your swing through. So we've got a little bit more weight forward at address. If we're going to have it forward at impact, there's no harm in having it forward at address. Very little movement off the ball. We'll tidy up the backswing as we go. Now the key now is to get the weight forward and the handle forward through impact. You can see there the weight staying in that lead foot, the club head not being thrown at the golf ball excessively on the way through. So we've now got a situation where the handle is forward and the weight is forward, so the hips have stayed forward this way. You can see there clearly the weight is into that lead leg, which is good. You're going to see that lead leg start to straighten as you come through the golf ball. Arms straight. Very, very good position, and if we can keep trying to layer good things in there every session, you're going to really see a marked improvement in your ability to consistently strike the golf ball when you're out on a golf course, not just off a tee peg, but when you're in the turf as well. In regards to yourself, Dave, what we're seeing here now is a massively improved swing. Club still rolls behind us from P1, the setup, to P2 when the shaft is parallel with the ground. We can see that the hand path is pretty nice. It's working straight up the red line. And then as we arrive at the top, the hands again are arriving on the green line, which is on the elbow plane, which is really, really nice. So a P4 position in regards to what the hands are doing and the butt of the club and the line that that's tracing is very, very good. You can see that your head's still within the box, so you've maintained a consistent inclination to the ground. So the way that you're turning, left tilting and extending is really, really good at that point. We do, however, have difficulty getting the club to travel far enough in the backswing. You can see the shaft very short of parallel, and if we did get that to parallel, we'd be very much across the line in this direction. One of the reasons for that is, what's your takeaway? The arms are swinging and the back of the left hand is rotating, but there's very little hinging of the wrist, and the hinging of the wrist helps offset the rotation of the back of the left hand, and that's why the club is rolling behind you a little bit too much at that point at P3 when the left arm's parallel with the ground. There isn't enough loading of the wrist. So what we've done is we've talked about each component part and the three things that we want to have happen. We want the wrists to hinge vertically during the swing, and it doesn't look like that simply because the other things are happening. The arms are swinging and the arms are rotating to offset that. But what we're going to use is a drill where we isolate each piece. Vertically hinge the wrist, rotate the forearm, and then from here we want the arms to swing, and we're going to instigate that by dropping the left shoulder and working it downwards. And you can see, due to the downward movement of the left shoulder, the improved vertical hinging of the wrist, what we've now got is a much fuller P4, top of the backswing position, with much more wrist hinge. The hands haven't really travelled further, and we've also got a slightly more neutral, slightly less shut club face at the top of the backswing. So hinge the wrist, rotate the forearms, then work the left shoulder down. And that's what we're doing here on this drill on the top right. Hinge the wrist, rotate the forearms, work the left shoulder down. Super position at the top. We then talked about tidying up the exit and maintaining your position in that box. As you start down from P4, there's a tendency to come up and out of the box very, very quickly. You can see the head coming off the wall. Too much of an extension. Club starting to drop in and under, and resulting in a shot cone that's quite wide. There's a lot of movement, hitting out excessively, quite a lot of club face rotation, and an high exit on the way through. You can see there the club exiting through the neck and can at times get higher than that. So we just run you back to this position here and take a little look at what we gave you to do. We've asked you to hit some pulls here left of the white cane that's in front of you. The act of trying to hit a pull teaches you to flex forward better from the start of your downswing, and you can see your head, although it does move off the wall or out of the box, it doesn't move out as much as soon, and it's helping the hands trace that green line better from the top of the backswing. So a little bit less movement up and out the box, coming into the ball a little bit less from the inside, a little bit less tucking of the hips, and resulting in a slightly lower exit. Not a lot lower, but a little bit lower at this stage. So what I'd like you to do is introduce that as a drill each time you practice. Just spend a little bit of time hitting some straight pulls. What we were getting here on the bottom left were some pull draws. So the ball was pulling starting left, but it was curving further left because of the excessive extension, the high exit, and the rate of closure on the club face. So just a task driven exercise for you. Teach yourself to hit a straight pull, and I can pretty much guarantee that that head will be staying in that box for much longer. Now and again, when you try to hit the pull, you got a really nice draw. As I said, the act of flexing forward for longer takes off that right to left spin and just reduces the amount of hook or push that we're getting on the golf shots. Good luck with it, and I look forward to working with you again in a couple of weeks' time. Well done.